Hello, HitPoint Madden fans. It has been a long while since I've been on here on YouTube doing a Madden rebuild, and I decided, when it was time for me to come back, I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to just do your old ordinary rebuild that you can see anywhere. And I just thought a lot about it. I was like, you know what? Let's do what I'm going to call Madden Moneyball Rebuilds. And we're going to start off with the Seattle Seahawks. And when I say Moneyball, like if you don't understand that the concept that was done with the movie and the book written within baseball, it's jumping in to Madden and having a criteria salary-wise for a team to lower the team's salary to a certain point, keep it there from year to year, and see if we can win a Super Bowl that way. So for example, if you see our handy dandy graphic in the bottom corner, the current salary total for the Seattle Seahawks is $158 million. The total salary cap for the 2021 year is $210 million. So the intention with this is our salary total has to be $75 million underneath the actual salary cap. So our target salaries for the 2021 year is $135 million. So by the beginning of the 2021 season, that's where we have to be. So I will just tell you, don't get too attached to anybody. Don't get too attached to any players because they're not going to be sticking around. Even as we go on, when we may be developing someone, once we get to their last year, their contract, we might not be able to keep them just based off of this. So don't get too attached to anyone. And right from the get-go, Seattle fans, you're not going to be happy. But we got to get rid of Russell Wilson. I know there's been a lot of rumors within free agency and right now and just during this offseason that he could get traded, and that's not happened so far. But we're going to have to do it because if you look at his numbers, he is counting in this season for $32 million against our limit. By cutting him, we're going to take a huge penalty on our cap, but that doesn't affect our total salary number. It just affects how much cap space we have for the year. So we're going to have to get rid of him, even though we're going to take about a $20 million loss by getting rid of him. Bobby Wagner, he's gone too. We're going to save about $6 million by getting rid of him because he is counting about $20 mil against the cap. But he's got to go. Same thing, Carlos Dunlap. He's counting $11 million towards our salary limit. He's older. If no one wants him, he's getting released. Same thing with Brown, left tackle. He's going to be going. And then Tyler Lockett, he's 28 years old in the last year of his contract. Might try to keep him around just because he's a good weapon for whoever we have as quarterback. But we'll see. He might have to go too, depending on where we reach. Because once we get rid of some of these players, we'll see where our salary limit is. And then from there, make decisions what we can do in free agency and maybe maneuverability in the draft. But I'm really excited about this concept, guys, because with the new trade system that got put in here with the new trade logic, there's a lot more potential to make some trades here and actually get some good value back for some of these star players. At the same time, maybe get some other players from other teams. So we're going to jump in. We're going to see what we can maneuver here, see how we can get underneath the cap before the draft at least, and then see what we got to do after the draft if there's any other maneuverability we got to do. Well, boys, here we go. We trade away Russell Wilson for 2 first-round picks from the Jacksonville Jaguars. We get the number 1 pick in the draft and the 25th pick in the draft for Russell Wilson. This means Seattle Seahawks officially is going to become the Trevor Lawrence town. Another crazy trade here, just shows the trade logic. Bobby Wagner trading him to the Cardinals for Isaiah Simmons, who we're going to switch from strong safety to linebacker, and a 2nd and a 3rd-round pick this year. We are set now for the draft. We have 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a 3rd now, when the Seattle did not have any firsts or 3rds going into this draft. So this is huge. We're going to be able to take our quarterback. We're going to be able to build around him a little bit and have an okay team with getting rid of 2 key players. We're going to end up cutting Brown and Dunlap. No one wants them in a trade, so we're going to be getting rid of them. I do think I'm going to try to trade away Tyler Lockett, though, to get some value from him because we have some holes. If we can get another offensive lineman or another linebacker, that would really help us out going into the draft. Another massive trade. we've traded away Tyler Lockett, Rashad Penny, and a 4th-round pick in this year's draft to get Raquan Smith and James Daniels from the Bears. That gives us someone on the O-line and gives us another linebacker to fit into the team. Now being able to move Isaiah Simmons down to a linebacker position and Raquan Smith, and having Jordan Brooks already. We're set on the linebacking core. We helped our O-line after getting rid of Dwayne Brown, cutting him. And I think we're ready to see where we at salary-wise now. Okay, guys, with all the changes, with the cuts, everything, our salaries now are at $74.3 million. We are officially about 60 million below where we actually can be. We have 17.9 million in rookie reserve though, so you got to add about that amount on there. So let's just say that's 20 to give us a buffer. That means we still have $40 million we can use in free agency. So there's some guys that Seattle we had to let them go, like Shaquille Griffin, who I know in real life got signed by someone else, as well as some other guys that we may actually be able to bring back. We might be able to grab a receiver. There's a lot of players that are in free agency we might be able to grab now with that $40 million cushion. And here we go. After 1 week of free agency, we signed Chris Godwin, Shaquille Griffin, and Rob Gronkowski to contracts. We had Will Disley, but Gronkowski's going to give us an upgrade there. We can use some 2 tight end sets, and Gronk's going to finish his career with Seattle, which is pretty awesome. Shaquille Griffin, we were able to bring him back on a cheaper contract. Is not as bad. Same with Chris Godwin. His contract's not that huge. So already we've replaced Tyler Lockett. We've brought back Shaquille Griffin and also improved our tight end group. We're moving along. Week 2 of free agency is behind us. We've been able to bring in a center in Blythe, left tackle in Fisher. Quarterbacks will be our backup with Fitzpatrick, and brought back Chris Carson. So that's good second week of free agency, filling in some other holes that we're not going to be able to do completely in the draft. So about ready to move on to where we want to do much more in free agency, and I'll give an update here soon on where we're at with the salaries. We are at the end of free agency, and if you look in our little graphic in the corner, our current salaries is at $112 million. That gives us plenty of cushion for our rookie reserve, depending on if we would move up or move down. That number could change. And so it's good to have this cushion right now where we still have about $23 million left to get up to that $135 million we can actually have. So we're on track. And so we're going to take a look at the team, see where we're at before we go into free agency. We might be doing some maneuvering around after the draft and generate the best lineup here. Of course, since we haven't had the draft yet, Fitzpatrick is our quarterback. You got Chris Carson, you got Metcalf, Godwin. Wide receiver is going to be a position we do look at one point in the draft because Swain's our number 3. We need to make an upgrade there in the slot. Our O-line is okay. It's not anything fantastic. I mean, James Daniels is the guy who's going to be developing with us. You got Eric Fisher, who's on a 1-year deal for us just to fill in a spot. Blythe's on a 2-year deal as our center. Lewis is young, going to be developing, and Shell's not good. He's 29. If we can get somebody on the O-line, that will be helpful, but we'll see. We might have to just live with this O-line for a year. On the defensive side of the ball, though, we're looking pretty good. Like, we got Collier and Robinson, who are not the best on the edge, but we got Reed in the middle. He's 27 years old, costing a lot in the cap. He'll probably be gone soon, but he's worth keeping around for this year. We brought back Griffin. We got, oh goodness, we got Flowers on the other side. We got Reed Jr. here. We got Diggs and Adams in the secondary, and then our linebacking core, probably the best part of our team. We may look at trying to grab someone else. We did grab Nigel Bradham in the free agency, and so he might become the number 2 guy. We might move Simmons to the outside, but we're going to see what plays out in the draft first before we actually decide what to do there. So overall, like, getting rid of Russell Wilson, Bobby Wagner hurts, but at the same time, our team's not that much worse where we're at, especially with the draft coming up and who we're going to be taking with our number 1 pick. here we are at the draft. We could entertain trade offers just to get more picks. The only way we would do that is if we traded like with the Dolphins. But then we would know for sure the Jets are going to take Trevor Lawrence, because Miami's not going to take Trevor Lawrence because they already have Tua. But we'd for sure giving Trevor Lawrence to the Jets. So it's not really worth it unless we could finagle some crazy trades where we trade back with Miami so they can come up and get whoever they're wanting. And then we traded with the Jets to move up and back to number 2. I don't see that being a thing. I think it would take too much. And the only reason to do it is because the number 2 pick will cost a little bit less than the number 1 pick. I think easily we could trade away to Miami, but to get the number 2 pick from the Jets, I think will cost us more than what we want to give away. So with all that being said, we're just going to take the guy who we know we should take. And Trevor Lawrence, welcome to the Seattle Seahawks. 80 overall, strong arm. He's not our scheme fit, but he's a 77 for improviser. It's not that big of a deal for us. I mean, look at his stats. 94 throw power, 86 deep accuracy, 87 medium, 86 short. Awareness is going to just improve over time. He could throw on the run. He throws under pressure. Like, he is going to be the cornerstone of this team going forward. Great pick. Slam dunk for us. We get a young guy. Russell Wilson wanted out anyways. We get the young guy to come in, take his place. We're going to have now for 5 years before we have to deal with any kind of contract. Here we are at the next pick we got from the Jacksonville Jaguars. The 25th pick of the first round. And don't know, I mean, out of everyone we looked at, ETN I think is the only person left. I'm tempted to take Zaven Collins. I think he's going to be really good. He's not our scheme, but it allows us to do what we were talking about at linebacker going into this. We could end up keep putting him in, keep Isaiah Simmons as the number 2 middle linebacker, and we have Jordan Brooks on the other side, and it allows us to just have that flexibility, move any of those guys around. If I were to consider anybody else without having any scouting done, since it just wasn't possible, maybe Jay Tufule, because we need another defensive tackle, allows us to maybe go back to that 4-3 at some point. Potentially even now, we could go back to the 4-3 and allow Isaiah Simmons to kick to the outside. My preference, because I like 3-4 better in Madden, to go that direction. I could take Vera Tucker, get another offensive lineman. Jalen Mayfield would be a good pick. Reed Humphrey, not at this point, but someone to keep an eye on. I just think at this point I gotta go with who I think is the best player available for us. We don't need a running back. With the fact we brought back Chris Carson for 5 years, I'm gonna take Collins.
The Browns
ranked
are
number
now
21
on the clock.
true value, took him at 25. Great for us. He's a run stopper more than a speed rusher, but we can develop that. He's got 80 tackling, hit power is fantastic, good speed, acceleration. Like, he can easily become a speed rusher. The biggest thing he has to work on is just his finesse moves. And of course, play recognition, being a rookie, that's going to improve as time goes on. But overall, a really solid pick for us. We have 2 second-round picks. We're at our first one here. Surprising to see Kyle Trask is available. But looking at who we have available, Dylan Moses is there. I think he'll only be normal development, but, I mean, he's depth. I mean, we talked about wide receiver. Rondale Moore, we're talking about we need a slot guy. Rondale Moore might be that guy. That might be the pick here. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown as well. He's more of a physical guy, a little bit bigger. He could work, though, for us. Rondale Moore is more what I'm going towards, because we do need to get that wide receiver. And having 2 picks here in the second round, I think that's the guy worth jumping on here. Ooh,
the Dolphins are now on the clock.
Pick. He is ranked number 37 in value, took him at 49. He is only normal development. Hopefully having a good year will help with that. He's 72, 70 in route running. He's got great speed. His catching needs some work, but I'm hoping that we see some improvement there. Kind of bummed he's only normal development, though, but it's okay. I decided to go back-to-back wide receivers with our next second-round pick. St. Brown was still available, and I knew that he would be another good addition. He's a little bit better, actually, than Moore. He was ranked 28th in the class, and I took him at 56. Him and Moore are going to compete for that number 3 spot now, and whichever one doesn't work out will be the one that goes eventually. So I'm okay with that. I mean, and St. Brown has the hidden development, so he has a step above Moore, and Moore just may be a casualty. Or it's a thing if we have another young guy in the receiving core that once Godwin or Metcalf get a little bit older, we already have some younger guys who can step into those shoes. So our wide receiver class now is set for multiple years. And the other problem is Metcalf's going to be up for a contract here soon. So once he's up for contract, we might have to let him walk. And so this protects us a little bit in that way. With our third round pick, we went linebacker again, took Quincy Roche out of Miami. He's normal development. He's got 70 overall. For us, it's technically a 65 because of power rusher. But he's ranked 72 in the class, took him at 80. I mean, normal development. I'm okay with that at this point here in the third round, especially since we don't have a fourth round pick. And so our next pick's not until like towards the end of the fifth. So, I mean, Roche is a developmental guy. He's not going to be anything stellar right now. We don't need him to be anything stellar right now because we already have some linebackers. So I took him more for the depth purposes. Okay with that. Going forward, hopefully he develops and we can actually use him, especially as our linebackers get older. I was taking a look at who was available at this point in the fifth round, and I didn't really like anyone. So I was like, you know what? Let's see if we can do a trade. And lo and behold, I was able to trade with the Bengals and get Jonah Williams, who's a star development. He's young. Yeah, he just came off an injury. We were able to trade for him, and we traded our 5th and 6th round pick this year and a 6th round pick next year. That's amazing value. This just shows you some of the craziness with the new trade logic of who you could potentially get. But yeah, Jonah Williams coming to the team. It allows us to either keep Eric Fisher on the left and put Jonah Williams on the right, or vice versa. But that really is a big improvement for our O-line and giving us another young guy we can develop on that O-line with. And with our last pick in the draft, we take from Ohio State, Tyreek Smith, defensive end, ranked 188 in the class, took him at 215. And look, he has hidden development. At this stage in the 7th round, you can't have a better pick. He's 66 overall. He's going to develop. He's going to have a lot of potential being 21 years old to develop into a really good defensive end. And that's what he is. He's a development guy. He doesn't have a lot of great stats right now. But being a hidden development, he's star or better, he's going to develop faster. And he could be really good for us going forward. That's the last pick. Let's take a look and see what happened with the salary. And look at that, boys. We have our salary at $127 million. We are $8 million under where we needed to be right now. And we actually have a decent team. Like, playoff worthy, I don't know. But I don't think we'll have a crazy losing season with what we have. I mean, like, let's take a look. Our team's an 80 overall. That's pretty good for after all that trading. 81 on offense, 80 on defense. Looking at the team, we have Eric Fisher on the right side, Jonah Williams on the left, Daniels on the left, Blythe in center, Lewis on the right, Gronk and Disley. At wide receiver, you got St. Brown in the slot, Trevor Lawrence now being our quarterback. I mean, our offense doesn't look that bad. On the defense, you have everything looks pretty much the same, except for Collins gets to jump into that top slot on right outside linebacker now. Brooks goes back to the left. We got Roche there as depth. So we're in a much better position than we were even going into this draft. You got Tyreek Smith here, who we're going to bump up to being the number 2 behind Collier, who, if he develops well, could jump in and actually start this season, which would be crazy. Taking a look at the specialist, you got St. Brown in the slot, Moore's right behind him, Reed's the slot corner. Coming off the edge, you're actually going to have Roche, which we might actually change. I think we're going to change and put Smith up there. Smith's going to get some playing time this season. We're going to have Reed, Smith, and Collins coming off the edge. And then you got Raquan Smith being our sub linebacker. If anything changed here, would be trying to get Isaiah Simmons into one of these rushing positions. But for now, we're going to keep it and see how stats look. But I will see you guys at the end of the season. We're not going to do anything crazy. I'm not going to jump into any games in this season because I don't think we're going to be in a position really to even make the playoffs. So I'm just going to see what happens, see where we're at the end of the season. So as I thought, we did not make the playoffs this season. Let's see what our record was. Oof. Okay. We did do pretty bad. That's surprising. We went 4-12. Of course, the Browns went 15-1 because Madden loves the Browns. But 4-12? The only teams worse than us were Washington and the Dolphins, going 3-13 each. We're 4-12? What happened? Oh, that's what happened. Our offense was horrible, 30th in the NFL, while our defense was 11th. Ooh, Trevor Lawrence did not have a good rookie year. 3,500 yards, 19 touchdowns, 6 picks. A good touchdown to interception ratio, but man, why did we focus on the run game so much? When I say so much, meaning like you have these two guys, that Carson and Scarborough, that each had 7 touchdowns. And even DJ Dallas had 4. Why did we focus so much on the run game? No 1,000-yard season for anybody. Very few touchdowns, as was shown with the amount of touchdowns for Trevor Lawrence. But man, I mean, sack-wise, Jonah Williams did horrible at right tackle, so that might be part of the problem. We had a decent amount of sacks, not a ton though. The defense, Raquan Smith did amazing, 135 tackles. Led the team in tackles. Collier and Collins had double-digit tackles for loss. Sack-wise, that's where it hurt some. We did not pressure the quarterback enough, even though we had a pretty decent defense. Interceptions, not a lot of interceptions either, so just a bad season all around. Bad year. Just a really bad year. Oof. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a superstar X factor, so that's really good for us going forward. He's already at 86 overall. I mean, St. Brown was a star development, so he's 79 overall now, while Moore's only a 74. We had some development on our O-line, so there's improvement there. On the defense, got some improvement there. Collins is a star development. He's going to be pretty good for us. Tyreek Smith's now a 70 overall. Definitely going to be jumping and starting here soon in the next season. Just, man, ooh, what a rough season. We have a lot of potential here, guys, for the 2022 season. Our salaries before trying to re-sign anyone were at $84.1 million. The cap went up significantly. We are now at a total salary that we can get is $159 million. The total salary cap went up to $234. So we are in a good position because our rookie reserve right now, because we don't have a first round pick, is only $6 million. We could spend almost all of what we have to get up to 159, which is like $75 million. So some of these guys that needed to be re-signed, like Raquan Smith as an example, we're probably actually going to bring him back because he's going to be a big cap hit and a big salary, but he's so young that it's really worth doing. Same thing, Jamal Adams is available. We may actually be able to bring back both of them because of how much room we have. Same thing, James Daniels, we need to bring him back. Like, there's a few guys here we don't need to worry about, but 3 names there we'll probably bring back now because we actually have the salary room. So even with the guys we re-signed, we only went up to $131 million. So we still have about $20 million we can use in free agency. I mean, when you just take a look, like I said, they're going to be huge caps. I mean, You got to ignore some of these numbers because they aren't being counted. Like Reed's not being counted since he has no years left. He's going to be gone. But Raquan Smith is 12.7 mil. Adams, 11.3 mil. Daniels, 8.96 mil. They're all big numbers, but we were able to bring them back and not have to worry about them going anywhere. And it's going to be tough. We may have to do some trading further on because their cap hit might be too much for us. But to go into the 2022 season with those guys is better than going into it without them, knowing that we could potentially do something with them later. So 20 mil is not a lot to work with in free agency, but we don't have that many holes because we have a lot of guys developing. I'd say if anything, we're going to be looking at middle linebacker, just to see if we can move Isaiah Simmons somewhere else. And probably going to look at O-lineman. I doubt there will be anyone there. But maybe cornerback, because we did lose Flowers. But we'll see. We made some offers. Some O-linemen, some guys on defense, just some guys we think actually could do well. And after 1 week, we got two of them. We got O'Neal and Connor Williams, totally reshaping our O-line. Got them on some pretty good discount deals. We'll take a look at that when we get to reevaluate. When we go to reevaluate our salary total. Our biggest signing, which allows us to do what we talked about, moving Isaiah Simmons to the outside, maybe trading away Jordan Brooks. We signed Chris Barnes, middle linebacker, out of free agency. He's going to be able to jump in right away, be our number 2 guy, and it really puts us in a good position going forward at our linebacking core. And let's see what we can get out of Jordan Brooks. We traded away Jordan Brooks to the Philadelphia Eagles, got their 3rd pick, and that pick's like pick 11 in the 3rd round. I was hoping we could get more for Brooks, but no one really wanted him. Like, the best value was all yellow, and so I just figured, got to go for a draft pick, and would rather get something out of him than nothing. And I didn't think I'd be able to get a 2nd round pick for him. And with the last week of free agency, we were able to sign all the guys we had outstanding deals with. Got our backup quarterback. We brought Earl Thomas back to the Seahawks to be our free safety. Got a fullback and another defensive tackle. So let's take a look at where we fell for salaries before the draft. And with free agency over, we ended with our current salaries at $152 million. We are $7 million underneath our target, which works out great because that's about what our rookie reserve is. So we were able to get some new guys, fill in some holes, keep some guys that we really needed to keep, and our team's looking decent going into the 2022 season. I mean, let's take a look. I was able to move some guys around. Our offense is 85 overall now, defense 81, giving us an 83 average. We got on the O-line now, you got Jonah Williams still. You got Connor Williams and O'Neal, though, on the right side, giving us upgrades on the right. On defense, we moved Isaiah Simmons out to the left outside linebacker, giving us really good linebacking core. Defensively, we're looking pretty well. Got some young guys coming off the edge. We got Josh Sweat, who we signed. Tyreek Smith's the only person who's like, we're going to see how he continues to develop. We weren't quite ready for him to jump into the starting role still, but he'll definitely get to be able to be used. And with Isaiah Simmons on left outside linebacker now, he becomes one of the guys who's going to come off the edge in our specialist, being a rushing right end. So our team's looking much better. We're in a much better place. Fingers crossed the draft goes well, and we'll see how the next season does. Here we are at our first pick number 3 of the 2nd round, and not quite sure where we're going to go here. There's some guys here. It really does feel like things have been picked over. I mean, you got Tywan Mullen here, who's actually a 1st round projection, even though he's more of a 3rd round pick. But I mean, there's just not a lot of guys, and a lot of censored names, of course, because of glitch in this game. But we don't really need a running back, and Tyler Davis isn't really a guy I want to grab. I mean, Damani Richardson's not bad, because we would potentially move him over to free safety after this season. It's just that's not really a need. But I think that's going to be the pick. I think we're going to take Damani Richardson. Welcome to the team.
The Broncos are now on the
clock. 31, took him at 35. That's a bummer. I thought he'd be better than normal. So that was kind of a whiff to take with our first pick, and it wasn't something that was really something we needed. Wasn't even best player available. If that was the case, we would have taken Zamir White. That's a bummer. We needed an upgrade at defensive tackle, that was for sure, even though we just signed a guy, but we really needed an upgrade. And I kind of look at these Moneyball rebuilds as a thing of guys who are in their last year of their contract. That's sometimes the best time to get them because the teams aren't quite sure what they're going to do with them. And so that's what we did. We took advantage of that with the Bills. We traded both of our third-round picks because I didn't really like anyone on the draft board, and traded away Blair, our free safety, who will just moved Damani Richardson over to that position. And we got Ed Oliver from the Bills. He's in his last year of his contract, but he's a superstar player, 85 overall defensive tackle, upgrades our D-line. It was a no-brainer. With our first pick in the 4th round, we took Zach Pickens. He's not all that fantastic. He's good in the sense that he was ranked at 84 and the class took him at 99. 21 years old, he's 68 overall. In fact, we're not probably going to re-sign Ed Oliver because he's going to want a lot of money. It's someone to add to the depth, see how he progresses. But it was a decent pick for our 4th round pick. So like I said before, I'm not seeing a lot of guys on the draft board I want. So I decided, let's trade away the picks. Trade away my 4th round pick, my 5th round pick. And I decided I had to trade away my 2nd round pick in the next year's draft. But I'm okay with that. I got Gregory Rousseau. Gregory Rousseau from the Oakland Raiders. Jumps in on one of our ends, and he is a superstar development. Young guy, perfect opportunity for us. Get rid of some picks we didn't want. 2nd round pick hurts from the next year, but it doesn't really sting that bad since he is a superstar development player. So good, sounds good to me. After the draft, we officially sit at $153 million. All of that because what we did in the draft basically made it a wash where we only went up $1 million from where we were. How? Don't know, but I'll take it. Keeps us $6 million underneath our target, and we have some really good players now. When you take a look at the team, we're now 85 offense, 84 defense for an 84 overall. The offense didn't really change. What did officially make Trevor Lawrence's X-Factor ability run and gun. But there's not really any changes here. We didn't take anybody on the offense really in the draft. But on the defense, with the trade, especially the trade we did for Russo, our D-line looks really good. We have Ed Oliver, the trade we did for him, and one for Russo. And we have Josh Sweat. We have an excellent D-line. We have excellent linebackers. Our secondary is not that bad. And we're going to have potentially some good sack numbers this season with Russo and Simmons off the edge and Oliver up the middle on our rushes. So overall, feeling pretty confident going into this 2022 season. We'll see if Madden likes me and gives me some good results on Sim, but I'm definitely jumping into a game this season. We're in week 1 of the season, and before we simulate ahead, I'm going to take a look at the schedule, see what game I would potentially want to play. We do have an update on the salary. We are at $155 million now, due to signing at running back. I made a change in the offensive scheme to be more of a run and shoot, focus more on the passing game. So we needed a receiving back, so I did sign Le'Veon Bell out of free agency. So that bumped us up to $155 million with adding him and cutting some people off of the team that we no longer needed when we got to the last week of the preseason. So we're going to simulate, and I'm going to see what game I'm going to jump into. At the mid-season break, we are 3-4, and this is the game we're going to jump into against the Cardinals. Be interested to see Trevor Lawrence versus Kyler Murray, see how that goes, especially since they're 1-7. But not the start I was hoping for. Hopefully we can win this game, get us to 500 to progress to the rest of the season. Right. In the second quarter, 1st and 10 on the 17-yard line. so far they have been playing excellent defense on in the secondary, making it very difficult to run the ball. Well, I mean, very difficult to pass the ball, I mean. But we'll just run it then. Run it with Lawrence, run it with the running backs. Gotta do what we gotta do. Oh, big hole. Le'Veon Bell in for the touchdown. Awesome catch, Chris Godwin. Yes! No, Honey Badger. Honey Badger got me. No. I shouldn't have thrown there. Crap. Let's run it in. Let's run it in. Chris Carson. Come on. Yes. Touchdown. Third quarter. About to be 14-0. Oh, touchdown, Rondale Moore. Oh, yes. Final score of the game, 35-14. Not our best game, but pretty good. I mean, we ended up, Trevor Lawrence, he had almost 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, had that 1 pick. That was a bozo play on my part. But able to actually hold Kyler Murray to some actual low yardage while he got 2 touchdowns. Rushing wise, Le'Veon Bell he had a comeback game, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns, and kept Chris Carson basically off the field. Receiving wise, St. Brown and Godwin did really well. Moore got involved. Marquez Stevenson involved. Defensively, we're getting the sacks that we've talked about potentially getting. Collins with 3, Russo with 1. We had a forced fumble, I believe, from Earl Thomas. So overall, solid game. Gets us to that 500 mark that we were needing to get to. We are officially in week 17, and this is a huge game for us. We got to face the Buccaneers. We're both 9-6. If we beat them, we get into the playoffs. But if we lose, we're not in, because the Buccaneers have the 7th seed right now. So we're going to jump into this game. We're going to see if we can pull it off. That is the game. We are going to the playoffs. Here we are, first week of the playoffs. We're facing the Giants, who went 12-4. They are the number 2 seed. We got in at number 7. We have to run the gauntlet here to get to the Super Bowl. I think we could do it, but we'll see. All right, we ended up winning 48-24, moving on to the divisional round. Whew. 1 step done. Step 1, win the wild card. Now we're facing the 49ers, who are the number 1 seed. We had to get through the number 2 seed. Now we got to get through the number 1 seed. That is also a divisional rival. This is going to be a challenge. 35-yard line. He'll look to throw. No, not a sack. He's taken down. Eric Armstead in there to take him down, and the clock will roll. Bull crap. Oh, I hate that. I hate that it does that. Accelerated clock. That I have that actually turned off, and yet it still did it. And took all my time off the clock, which made no sense. That's a horrible way for that season to end. Oh. That's deflating. I hate that that's a thing in Madden. That's why I turn it off. And yet somehow it still happened. Alright, we're just going to sim to the Super Bowl now, see if we got any progression. And we're going to go one more season. I mean, at this point, I'm going to play one more season, see how this Moneyball experiment goes, see how well we can do. See if we can still keep under those contracts and try to get to the Super Bowl. We got to the playoffs, so that was huge. Kansas City and Green Bay made it. So even San Francisco didn't even make it. Alright. No progression on the offense, it looks like. Defensively, as he should have, Shaquille Griffin goes up to Superstar X Factor, getting the Zone Hawk X Factor ability. Earl Thomas is now Superstar Development. Looks like nobody else made any kind of progression. Alright. See you guys in the off season. Going into the 2023 season, we're actually looking pretty good. We had to let some people walk. Might try to get them back in free agency, just was not going to try to re-sign them. Their contracts were too huge. A couple of those people being DK Metcalf, Jonah Williams. Had to just let them go. Right now, total salary cap for the 2023 season is $242 million. We're sitting at $134. So our target, though, is $167. We still have $33 million we can use. Our rookie reserve is only $6.82 million again. So we got about $30 million we can use. So we'll see what we can do in free agency. It may not be possible to get some of those guys back. Depends on what kind of offers they're already getting. See if we can lowball them. But it wasn't too big of losses. DK Metcalf is a loss. It would be nice to bring him back because he's so young, but it may not be possible. After free agency, we were able to get Metcalf back. We got Jonah Williams back. We did lose Ed Oliver, unfortunately. But we are currently sitting $6 million underneath our target. We're at $161 million. DK Metcalf did cost a lot to bring back. But we are in an okay place. Jonah Williams' contract was not the cheapest either, but it was definitely lower than what he wanted because he wanted over $10 million. So, looking at the team, we aren't horrible still on defensive line, even not having Ed Oliver, because we did have some two young guys to back him up. Our offense stays pretty much the same now. Jonah Williams, we had to keep him just because of there wasn't anyone else in free agency. I mean, even though him and O'Neal did horrible together as tackles. Defensively, though, I mean, Phillips and Pickens are the top two defensive tackles. We're going to put Pickens into that role because he is a little younger. We did get Amani Hooker to take Earl Thomas's place, so we'll see how that goes. And everything else stayed the same. We do need some help at cornerback, so we'll be looking at that in the draft for sure. Offensively, we did not bring any other running back in. May look at that after the draft and everything, or we might draft somebody. With our first pick, sadly only a normal development, but we need this depth at cornerback. It's a huge need. We took Tyreek Johnson out of Ohio State, ranked 24 in the class, took him at 27. He fits our scheme man-to-man. Doesn't have horrible stats. It stinks he's only normal development for being our first-round pick. We desperately needed a center. We didn't have one, and there is no one in this draft we're taking now. So I traded our third-round pick to the Falcons for their backup center, Patterson, who's actually star development. So plugs right in, will be our center for this season. Going to be looking at trying to get another running back because Chris Carson doesn't really fit our scheme anymore. Might try to trade him away and our fourth-round pick to see who we can get. All right, so I did something unthinkable. I traded away Jamal Adams because of his cap hit. We had a strong safety there, Damani Richardson, who's a big drop-off for sure. But we're getting one of the best running backs in the game, in Saquon Barkley. So I really like that improvement. Yes, we lost Jamal Adams, but he didn't do a lot in our stats anyways. And, I mean, it's a heart-wrencher for me. Like I said, you can't get attached to anybody in this because Barkley, he has less of a cap hit. Jamal Adams, we get rid of that cap. That helps with our total salary number. And I didn't even trade away the fourth-round pick yet. So now we can trade away that fourth-round pick, maybe see if we can get someone else in the secondary. That's going to be helpful. But Saquon Barkley is a huge improvement for us. It's going to really help out the team. Hopefully gives us that spark on offense that Chris Carson just was not going to do. All right, we ended up getting another strong safety, someone who is a little bit better development trait, is a scheme fit to take on Jamal Adams' spot. We got Terrell Burgess from the Rams for trading our 4th and 5th round pick this year and a 5th round pick next year. Feel pretty solid about that because there is just no one good in this draft. Into the draft, with all that trading going on, everything, we are at a great prime spot. Our salaries are at $154 million. We still actually have $13 million left in our range here, where I may look at trading away future picks to get some other star players that won't really hurt our cap. Maybe we'll see, because some teams may not want to do that, and also I don't really want to trade away our whole future. I mean, I'm really trying to make a push here in this season that we're going to get to the Super Bowl. May not win it, but I want to get to the Super Bowl, and that I count as a success for this Moneyball experiment. All right, we got a huge upgrade on our offensive line. Like I said, I was going to look at potentially trading away future picks because we're really trying to make it to that Super Bowl this year. We traded away our first and second round pick next year and Brian O'Neill, who sucked, for Tristan Wirfs from the Buccaneers. Huge upgrade at the right tackle. It does cost us a lot in our future, but we're able to bring somebody in who's actually going to be able to protect Trevor Lawrence. So, making that push for the Super Bowl or bust. So, great big trade there. May actually look at trading away our first round pick in 2025. Probably not, though, just because it's not going to have the same value. So, huge addition. I don't know. That might be it, because from a cap standpoint, he doesn't hurt our cap really at all either. All right, we did it. I traded away our first round pick in 2025 as well, and low corner Mitch Waynes, and a 7th round pick in 2025 to get Kyle Pitts from the Cincinnati Bengals. He automatically becomes our number 1 tight end, giving Trevor Lawrence a tight end weapon because Rob Gronkowski did retire. So I feel good now. I feel good to go into the season. We're going to see what happens. All right, guys, we're at the midway point of this 2023 season, and we are 6-2. Oh, man, we have such a good chance here. We have such a good chance to actually pull this off, get into the Super Bowl. We just got to see how the rest of the season goes, because sometimes Madden Sim, it can just go woo, and you just start losing after the bye week and the mid-season break. So we are in our bye week right now. But I will see you guys at the playoffs. We are officially in the playoffs. We went 11-5. We have the number 3 seed. So we had a couple losses there in the second half that kept us from the number 1 or number 2 seed, but we are there. We get to host the Eagles in the first round of the playoffs. Got to make the run and get to the Super Bowl. So let's see if we have better luck than last year in getting there. I want to jump in really quick. We have stats for this season. Trevor Lawrence with his best career year, 41 touchdowns, 12 picks, but the big number here to see, his sacks were only 22. Went down 20 sacks from last year. So getting Tristan Wirfs on the line, huge upgrade for us. We'll have to see who allowed most of those sacks. But 41 touchdowns, 12 picks. Excellent year for Trevor Lawrence. Barkley really took the pressure off. Almost 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns. Good year for him. Receiving, our first time getting someone to 1,000 yards. St. Brown with 14 touchdowns. Godwin had 10. Metcalf had 9. Pitts, great addition to the team. 7 touchdowns, 829 yards. Excellent production. From the sack perspective, Jonah Williams, still our worst person for sacks, but he only allowed 7 this year. A big drop from what he was doing. Tristan Wirfs, great addition. Jarrett Patterson, great addition. Each only allowing 2 sacks all season long. That really helped us out. On the defense, Raquan Smith and Chris Barnes again leading the team at tackles. You got tackles for loss. Isaiah Simmons with 13, Rousseau with 10, Sweat with 10. Sacks, 2 with double digits being Simmons and Rousseau. Sweat had 8. Tyreek Smith getting involved with 6. And then interceptions, you had Raquan Smith with 4. Terrell Burgess with 3. Shaquille Griffin with 3. A very solid year for people. Our offense was 6th in the NFL. Defense was 15th. When we look at the yearly awards, not MVP, not going to be Coach of the Year either. But when we look at the NFC, Kyler Murray wins Offensive Player of the Year, unfortunately for us. But Raquan Smith, Isaiah Simmons, 1 and 2 for Defensive Player of the Year. Let's see if we had anybody else on the list. Trevor Lawrence gets Best Quarterback. Let's see. Isaiah Simmons, Best Linebacker. So, really solid year for the team. Definitely worth everything we did in the offseason, and a team that should make the Super Bowl. All right, here we are. Less than 2 minutes left in the second quarter. We're down 6-0. We're jumping in here. Going to try to see what we can do. Philadelphia with a turnover. See if we can get this ball down the field and score. Trevor Lawrence to run. Nice. Oh, St. Brown. St. Brown with the touchdown. Yes, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Woo! Oh, Barkley makes it in. His second touchdown of the game. We're going to be up 21-6. So we pulled it off. We ended up winning 31-13. Trevor Lawrence with a big comeback in the second half there. Ended up going 13 for 26 after starting out 1 for 10 with 2 touchdowns, no picks. Saquon Barkley, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, Trevor Lawrence had 57 yards rushing. Amon-Ra St. Brown delivering 2 touchdowns, 85 yards. Defensively, 2 sacks in the game, 1 pick by Shaquille Griffin. Locks it up, and we're moving on to the divisional round again. In the divisional round, we are facing last year's NFC representative for the Super Bowl, the Green Bay Packers. And we're going to see if we can dethrone them from that and move on to the conference championship. All right, it is 3rd and 6 in the 4th quarter. We're down by 3. We have to get this first down, or it's very likely we will lose this game because Green Bay could end up going ahead.
On 3rd down, he'll drop to throw. Dancing to his left.
Wide open. DK Metcalf. First down. Saquon Barkley. Oh, reach. Get in there. Oh, my goodness. Got 1 yard after all that. Come on, Barkley. This is what we traded for you for. Oh, wide walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Saquon Barkley, taking us ahead in this game. No way. How did we get that pick? I thought for sure they were about to score, and we're about to run this back all the way for the touchdown. Yes! NFC Championship game. We're facing the Saints. It's a home game, though. So I feel optimistic that we can pull this off, get to the Super Bowl, proving the experiment with Moneyball works. And even with all the sacrifices we had to make in the very first season and the ups and downs we've had to get to this point. All right, it is 38-30, 16 seconds left in this game. Oh, I'm starting to wish I would have played different defense. Oh, nice. Oh, proving me wrong. Russo with the sack. Excellent. 4th and 15. They're going to be going for it, so we are going to do this. Oh, time ran out. Time ran out on them. What happened to me last time happened to them because they had no timeouts left. Yes! So we did it. We won 38-30. Just eking out a win there against the Saints. Trevor Lawrence, great game, 4 touchdowns. Barkley, 96 yards and a touchdown. It was a great way to end going into the Super Bowl. Barkley also involved in the receiving category. Sacks, decent amount of sacks, 1 pick by Chris Barnes. Great win. Now we move on to the Super Bowl. All right, here we are at Super Bowl week facing the Buffalo Bills. They also went 11-5. Can we do it? Can we end this video with a Super Bowl win? All right, we're winning 7-6. It's the second quarter. We're up 10-6. Buffalo makes it down. They score 13-10. We score 17-13. 17-16 in the third quarter. Kick the field goal 20-16. Another field goal 23-16. 26-16, so many field goals. (33-23), we're ahead. We have the ball again. 40-23, we're gonna jump in here in this game. It looks like we are gonna pull out the Super Bowl win, 40-23. With 1:19 left, Buffalo with 3 turnovers in this game. Barkley with the run. Oh, man, getting 7 yards. He's had 126 yards this game and a touchdown. showing just the beast he is and why we made that trade for him. 54 seconds left. We're going to make that run. 127 yards. I mean, yeah, it would make sense. We could just kneel the ball, but we're ending this video on a high note. We want to get one more touchdown. And there it is. Touchdown number 2 for Saquon Barkley. Takes us to 46-23. We're going to kick the field goal. 47-23 Seahawks. Kick the ball away. And let's see if we can keep Buffalo from scoring. Incomplete pass.
Second down. It's now 2nd and 10 at the 25-yard line. To throw again. Allen. And this one incomplete.
Good job there, breaking up that pass completion.
The intended target there was Gabriel Davis, and it's 3rd down. Working out of the shotgun. Here's Allen. He's going to let it fly.
Burgess, with the pick, but it's out of bounds. Oh, and they're going to punt the ball away, accepting the defeat here in the Super Bowl. This would have been a very boring game to watch, it probably looks like.
Borquez on to punt as he gets it away. Escapes the defender. It's a 40-yard
6 seconds left. We're going to come in with Trevor Lawrence. We're going to kneel the ball and end this game.
The Seahawks in victory formation as they go ahead and take the knee.
That is the end of the game. Super Bowl winning champs, the Seattle Seahawks, 47-23. We've done it. Went up the peaks, the valleys, everything. Trading away Russell Wilson, Bobby Wagner, Tyler Lockett, all those guys at the beginning of the video. Going 4-12 the following year, making it up to the playoffs the next year, losing in the division round, coming back this year, trading some picks away, getting some guys onto the team, getting a stud running back, helping out with our defense as well, making a trade, having to get rid of Jamal Adams, which was huge, very much a hard decision to make. But it was all worth it. We made it here to the Super Bowl. Saquon Barkley, the MVP, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. As the Seattle Seahawks are your Super Bowl champs. Trevor Lawrence, 244 yards and 2 touchdowns, and also had a rushing touchdown in this game. Pitts and Barkley getting those receiving touchdowns. Barkley very much deserved the MVP of the game. So one last thing to check before we end this video. We have to see where did we end up at the end of the season with our salary cap. At the end of the season, we ended up being at $152 million. We were $15 million underneath our target. Guys, it worked. You can win a Super Bowl playing this Moneyball game, making trades for guys who are in their last year of their contract, getting rid of some high-profile players. I mean, when you look of who's going to be gone now, Isaiah Simmons is gone. Let's see, who else here? Some big names. Burgess is gone, the guy that we traded for. He was in his last year of his contract. Wirfs, who we just traded for, is in the last year of his contract. I mean, there are ways that you can do this and you can get it. So let me know in the comments below. We've done the Seattle Seahawks. What other teams do you want to see me take through these Moneyball rebuilds? Definitely hit that like button. That helps out for sure with the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe if you're new. Definitely appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this. I hope you have a good rest of your day. And don't forget, keep an eye on your health bar. Thank you so much for tuning into HitPoint. We hope this refilled your health bar and provided a much needed mental break. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to click the logo that's over my face. Or if you want more content, click here or here.